Hi, I'm Dr. Laurent Bannock, and in this Science to Practice overview, I'm going to be focusing on ketone salts and exercise performance. So substrate metabolism, or fueling metabolism, is of great interest to sport and exercise nutritionists. And in exercise physiology, research has focused on manipulating these fuels for working muscles so as to maximize training and performance outcomes. And in recent years, increasing attention has been paid to the study of an alternative fuel source, which is these ketone bodies. And why is this? Well, it's been hypothesized that increasing ketone bodies via exogenous supplementation could provide performance and health benefits. So, what actually are ketones? Well, ketone bodies are produced in the liver during prolonged exercise and dietary states such as reduced carbohydrate availability, most commonly during prolonged fasting, starvation, and ketogenic low protein and high fat diets. So what's the relevance to exercise then? Well, we know in exercise metabolism that ketone bodies can act as an energy substrate to produce adenosine triphosphate via the Krebs cycle. And in theory, it is suggested that this could lower the usage of precious muscle glycogen stores during exercise. And aside from offering an alternative fuel source for these muscles, ketone bodies may also act as signaling molecules to regulate gene expression and adaptive responses. So when it comes to ketone supplements, we need to bear in mind a number of factors. Exogenous ketone supplements have been developed to increase the most abundant ketone body, which is known as beta-hydroxybutyrate in the blood. But there are different supplemental forms, so it's important to be able to distinguish between them because they all sound very similar. Firstly, we have ketone esters, and ketone esters can be metabolized and do increase beta-hydroxybutyrate in the blood, and these increases lead to metabolic flexibility during exercise with a result in reduction in glycolysis. And this may actually help improve endurance performance in trained athletes. So the bottom line with ketone esters is that they can alter fuel metabolism and may enhance endurance performance, but they're not commercially available. We also have raspberry ketones, and despite the widespread sales and a lot of misleading hype and marketing, there is no relation of raspberry ketones to ketone bodies. Also, there is no evidence that they can influence fuel metabolism. So the bottom line with raspberry ketones is they probably won't work unless you're a raspberry. And then we have beta-hydroxybutyrate ketone salts. And ketone salts can be metabolized and do increase beta-hydroxybutyrate in the blood, but they may cause gastrointestinal distress, but they are commercially available. And the bottom line, though, is the performance effects may not be realistic in the real world beneficial. So ketone salts and exercise performance. What does some of the evidence tell us? Well, in a recent 2017 study, we can see in this study, 10 active males underwent a crossover designed double-blinded placebo-controlled study. As a reminder, in a crossover design, all the participants take part in all conditions and on separate occasions. When blinded, they don't know which condition it is. And in this particular study, the participants ingested a placebo or a ketone salts drink on the separate occasions. So 30 minutes after consumption of the placebo or the ketone salts drink, they underwent a 3-stage steady-state incremental exercise protocol. Then, 5 minutes after completion of this, they then underwent a 150 kilojoule time trial. So what are the metabolic and performance effects that were found in this study? Well, the first thing is that in the 150 kilojoule time trial, the time to completion was slower with ketone salts, and they also saw that the average power was lower with the ketone salts. With regards to substrate metabolism or fuel metabolism, they noticed that fat oxidation was higher with ketone salts, and there was no difference detected in blood lactate levels, which is certainly very interesting. So what actually is the take-home science to practice messages from this kind of research? Well, firstly, ketone bodies are produced during fasting or carbohydrate restriction, and they can also be taken as a supplement without the need to fast. Ketone bodies are a substrate to produce adenosine triphosphate in muscle and thus can provide energy for muscle contraction. Although in theory, exogenous ketones could reduce muscle glycogen use and improve performance, the results are actually mixed as far as the evidence is concerned. So ketone esters have been shown to have performance benefits in trained athletes, but ketone salts have a negative effect on performance. So at the moment, there is not enough evidence to suggest that taking ketones will benefit performance, as there are now negative data. Ketone salts should certainly be avoided for serious athletic performance. So when we look at the body of knowledge as a whole on substrates and metabolism and its impact on performance, the overwhelming point of view, the take-home message from this evidence is that carbs are still king for performance. Now this is a pretty in-depth area that you need to explore further, and there's a great deal of contextualization you need to do depending on the needs and preferences and the scenarios of your clients, your athletes. So I do recommend you read this more recent paper, this 2019 current opinion paper on exogenous ketone supplementation and keto adaptation for endurance performance, which I feel will help inform you a little bit further. In addition to some reading, I recommend 3 podcasts that I've done. Contextualizing fat oxidation during exercise with Ed Maunder, who is also a co-author of the previous paper I just referred. I also recommend this podcast on dietary fat and elite endurance performance with Dr. Jill Leckie, and also this podcast on ketogenic diets and athletes with Fionn McSweeney. All of these we do mention and get into ketone supplementation, so I highly recommend you listen to those to get a deeper understanding on this topic. If you want to consider advanced training in sport and exercise nutrition, and do consider our online diploma in performance nutrition, as well as our other resources such as our new SEMPro professional platform for sport and exercise nutritionists and our other videos and podcasts. You can get all of this on our website at www.theiopn or social media at the IOPN. Thank you very much for listening. I look forward to bringing another Science to Practice video back to you very soon.